TNA Wrestling crosses that line again as we get ready to go under siege in just a few short hours' time. It is going to be a hell of a show in Canada. Looking very much forward to it. But before we get there, we need to get through TNA Impact and what went down in the Impact Zone. Well, what did go down at first was a fantastic match between Mustafa Ali and Ace Austin. These two were so well matched in the ring. They can just, we hear the term fight forever and it gets thrown around quite a lot in wrestling, but I would be happy to see these two over and over again. The only thing I suppose that was a little bit disappointing was, of course, the outside interference that you would get with Mustafa Ali. He's obviously got the great hands and he's got Tasha Steelz as well. And Ace Austin is such an incredible, incredible talent. More on that in a minute, actually. But Tasha Steelz did distract Ace Austin, and Ali locked in an ankle lock, which Ace Austin tapped for. Real shame on that from Ace Austin that he had to tap out. Again, the distractions. It, I mean, last week we didn't do TNA, so apologies for not doing the review last week. I was on holiday, didn't get an opportunity to do so. So, um, yeah, it just spoils it for me. It was such a great match. Ali could have gone over without the interference. I know you want to keep, well, they wanted to keep Ace Austin strong, but I just feel again, we're talking about interference on TNA and we don't need to. Didn't need it, but it happened, and that is it. And Mustafa Ali chalks up another dub in TNA. But there was news literally today that broke about Ace Austin. And fun enough, it was former TNA owner or manager Scott D'Amore that broke the news that apparently Ace Austin has finished up with TNA Wrestling, no longer under contract there. The two sides couldn't come to an agreement on a deal for all intents and purposes. And that's a real, real shame because Ace Austin is an incredible talent for TNA Wrestling. He's an incredible talent, full stop. And it's a real gutting one for me. I know the Chris Bay injury and whatnot, and it's kind of it was difficult to see where they could go. He was floating around here and there. Maybe they just didn't have any long-term plans for him as well. They could have, factored that into it. So, unfortunately, it seems like Ace Austin's time in TNA is done, at least for the foreseeable. And wherever he goes, because he will get signed. Ace Austin is too good to be a free agent in wrestling. There is no doubt about that. But for now, Ace Austin, we bid you adieu, and a donut when we next meet is on the cards. That is for certain. There was a backstage promo by the system. Brian Myers couldn't pass up the opportunity to beat up Joe Hendry and Elijah, which is going to be the main event. And Eddie Edwards says pay close attention to his match tonight. As Moose says, they will stick their foot straight up Elijah's ass, and they can let all of Canada know to always trust the system. Well, we will see in Z main event what will happens this week. But there was another promo by Rosemary with a knocked out oh Jesus, Lee Ingley. And an understage, Zaya Brookside embraces the darkness, or they drag her there kicking and screaming. Well, interesting to see what happens with Zaya and this one. We've seen she's been teased a little bit here and there over the last few weeks, whether we'll see the darker side of Zaya Brookside. And I think of this, and it brings me to Julia Hart in AEW. That whole way in which she turned from cheerleader to dark side. Now with Brody Lee and Buddy Matthews used to be obviously with Alistair Black on Malachi Black, and you feel as if that is an opportunity there to turn Zaya into perhaps their version of Julia Hart. and team up with Rosemary. Even that could be something they do, which would be an interesting one. I'd like them to experiment with that. I really think that there's an opportunity there. Zaya Brookside's incredibly talented, much like a lot of their knockouts roster is very talented, and to do that with Zaya Brookside could be an interesting twist in the tale, so to speak. Very much looking forward to the match Under Siege in just a few short hours' time. But before we get there, some more action on Impact. This was a really exciting tag match. The Northern Armory versus the Aztec Warriors. Yeah, clash of styles in many ways. The Aztec Warriors, Laredo Kid and Octagon Jr. Very much the high flying, exciting team. And the Northern Armory very much just want to kick the crap out of you kind of team. But they're quick as well. And they're, yeah, as I said, quick and exciting. Lots of near falls in this. Eric Young was arguing with fans as the match was going on, which was quite funny. But yeah, really fun tag match this. Very and very enjoyable. TNA does this a lot, you know. And even with Eric Young out there, he was arguing with fans. He wasn't necessarily getting involved too much in the action. And this is where having someone on the outside, yeah, you could argue that perhaps he should have got involved. But that's sometimes, good that when they don't, because we see it too much, especially in TNA. And that's not here at TNA, by the way. It's just an observation. But this tag team match was great. I really enjoyed it. I want to see these two again, actually, go against each other because they were just so well matched. Everything about this match was just smooth, very, very smooth. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. The Aztec Warriors did pick up the win. A Michinoku driver and a moonsault from Octagon Jr. picks up the victory in this match. And I could see them wrestle a lot. I really would like to see more of these two teams go at it. Maybe we will. Who knows? That's the beauty of TNA. We don't know until next week or until later on tonight, maybe. Under Siege. Now, Zaya Brookside was then backstage with a recovering Lei Yingli. She responds to the comments made by Rosemary, and she's vowing her revenge tonight at Under Siege, and for all those who like her and refuse to sell their soul. Well, she's now selling their soul. We've seen how that's got John Cena on other programming. He wins the world championship. So maybe, just maybe Zaya Brookside should consider selling one's soul to Rosemary. I'll be interested to see what happens in that match. Now, maybe a DQ finish. Maybe they go into a Clockwork Orange House of Fun match later. Maybe there's a match that they'll go into where we'll see that side of Zaya Brookside. She's been teasing it enough. And I think that it's time for Zaya to turn to the dark side. Back in the Impact Zone now with Eddie Edwards from the System against Jake Painter. I don't know too much about Jake, I'll be honest with you, but Cody Deaner was on commentary. Don't forget, Cody Deaner puts it all on the line tonight. Under Siege against Eddie Edwards. If he beats Eddie Edwards, he gets re-signed to a TNA contract. There was the little bit where he got in Eddie Edwards' face during this as well. This was pretty much a tune-up match for Eddie Edwards. It didn't get to a point where there was going to be a big shock on the cards. There was a little bit where Painter did kick him when Eddie was going for the Boston knee party. But there really wasn't too much offense from Mr. Painter in this. But there was a lot of jostling between Eddie and Cody on the outside. And eventually in this match, not too long into it though, Eddie Edwards did defeat Jake Painter with the Boston knee party. And that wasn't all though, because Cody Deaner vows at Under Siege he is going to beat Eddie Edwards at Under Siege. Well, we can find out. And you can find out by downloading the TNA Plus app. Get it downloaded, get subscribed, get that championship package if you want to see Under Siege tonight. Because if you don't get the championship package, you will get TNA Impact, but you will not get Under Siege. And you'll also not get all the other episodes of TNA Impact if you want to see the likes of AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, Samoa Joe, Kurt Angle, and Sting, get that championship pack, and you will be able to watch everything on the TNA Plus app. Now, when we get back from the break, it's Mence Warner and Steph DeLanda, and apparently it's the start of the Mence and DeLanda era. And anyone who likes it can tell, anyone who hates it, sorry, can tell someone that cares. Well, interesting times because we haven't seen, well, there's been a sort of, a ceasefire as such between Warner and Callihan, thank Christ, because they put each other through hell, or in a lot of cases, barbed wire and anything else you could get their hands on a month or so back. So we haven't seen a lot of Mence in the ring since then, Mence Warner. We hope to see more of him. And this whole Delanda, partnership, a real life partnership as well, but the whole Delanda partnership looking to take over TNA wrestling in the near future, of course. So we'll wait and see where this goes. I'm looking forward to it, though, because Mence Warner, I didn't know too much of. I knew he was in GCW prior to going to TNA. And he's impressed me a lot since he's been there. So I'm interested to see what's around the corner for Mence Warner in TNA. And with Steph DeLanda as outside with him, lots and lots of stuff could go on. Back in the ring, it is tag team action with First Class Casey Navarro and AJ Francis as they go against Mike Santana, the Blue Chipper, and Sami Callihan, who, like I said, has had his issues with Mence Warner. O'Shea Jackson of the Non-Contest Wrestling Podcast and Hollywood fame was on commentary. Hey, listen, TNA, if you're looking for someone to come on some commentary during Impact, I will happily fly myself out to wherever you are and offer my services to you. I would love that. I know you probably wouldn't, but I would. This was an interesting one. I honestly thought on this because of the Santana push, because, we kind of know Santana's going for the gold in TNA. And I've said that I do believe that he will be world champion come probably the end of the year. I thought they were going to win this, but First Class pick up a First Class victory. And Navarro hit the 619 and the blessing from disguise after AJ Francis grabbed Callihan by the neck, allowing Casey Navarro to do that and pick up the big win for that. There's no mistake about it. That's a huge win for First Class. Massive, massive win there for AJ and Casey, and they're going to be looking for this second half of 2025 to climb those ranks and get some more championships. That's for sure. And I'm looking forward to it. I really am looking forward to it. I've said it all along. AJ Francis for me, Jesus, massive. Since coming from WWE, I think he's been a real someone that's gone under the radar in a lot of ways. People still don't like him. People still criticize him, but I think he's been great. From what we saw in WWE to what we see in TNA with him, it's like night and day. It really, really is. And I think, he can surprise a few people. I mean, he's been in main events. Let's not beat around the bush. He has been in main events for TNA and he has not looked out of place. So for me, AJ Francis is definitely one to watch out for. Casey Navarro is criminally underrated and how good that he is. And you hear a lot of the TNA when you see some of the interviews that have been done. They will always mention him because of how good he is. And people just haven't really, I don't think we've scratched the surface with Casey Navarro yet. And First Class by name, First Class definitely by nature. A big debate was next. Santino Marella and Robert Stone. It was moderated by Gia Miller. Santino, was like he comes to TNA with an open mind. And if he got his finger on the pulse and a little taste of business, and he's coming here with his shenanigans, Robert Stone he's talking about there. And Robert Stone says Santino Marella has done absolutely nothing to make TNA a better place. He calls him a joke, always has been and always will be, doesn't deserve to be in the position that Santino is in, and he says he wants to make TNA a better place. He's going to make them a lot of money, and he said if Santino has control, he's going to run it into the ground. So to which Santino Marella said, "Well, you're stupid." He says TNA is rising to the top, and it's hard to argue with that. He said Stone might have the fancy style, but Santino has got a sense of what the people want. And he says he came from the people, and the people are an extension, his extended family. And he said family should stick together. And just as he does that, Tessa Blanchard comes out, strikes Gia Miller, and that brings out Masha Slamovich. Now, unfortunately, at this point, the a table was involved. That table decided that it wasn't going to be a Spanish announce table and break. They hit moves for Tessa Blanchard to put her through the table. None of them worked, including a Samoan drop, and it just didn't want to break. But they celebrated anyway, did Masha and Gia and that, and Robert Stone wasn't very happy with it. But it was quite funny. Listen, when I say funny, you could probably tell it hurt Tessa Blanchard because that table didn't break, and as funny as it was, it's probably really painful. But you don't want to mess with a TNA table. It's just as simple as that. They're made of tougher stuff down at the Impact Zone. That is for sure. But someone who, well, is a bit annoyed now for Under Siege is Matt Cardona. Now, Matt Cardona won an opportunity to take on Steve Macklin at Under Siege. Unfortunately, Steve Macklin is not medically cleared after that vicious dog collar match with Eric Young. And yeah, Macklin isn't cleared, and Cardona wants Macklin stripped of the title. But Santino did not agree and said it's not happening. The match isn't happening Under Siege, but it will be happening next week on TNA Impact on the TNA Plus app. So there you go. Another reason to get the app, get subscribed. Even if you can't do the championship one and you want to just watch TNA weekly, there you go. You will get Matt Cardona, Steve Macklin next week for the International Championship in what should be a real brawl on that one. Spitfire back in championship contention, of course. They took on Vipres and Maserati. I hope I got that right. Maserati's a bike. I know that much. Not literally her, by the way. Jeez. This was quite a simple victory for Spitfire. I'm going to move that one along pretty quickly. They did hit the Jody Fritt hit the pressure drop on Vipres for the win. That brought out the Elegances, who don't forget, they're in recruiting mode as well. Will that happen this coming week or tonight? Even not this coming week, even a few short hours when they defend their championships. But they did. Spitfire ended up actually posing with the belt after taking them out at the end of the match. I just need to move on after that comment, which we move on nicely to the main event. Hendry and Elijah taking on Moose and Brian Myers. Trick Williams on commentary for this one. It's a good fun tag match. Obviously, Trick being on commentary on this for the obvious reasons. Trick Williams. Joe Hendry, I believe, this coming Tuesday on NXT for the TNA Heavyweight Championship. Really good one, Liz. Love this tag match. Really solid main event on this week's TNA. Great sort of, back and forth, momentum shifting here and there. Moose is still brilliant. I don't care what anyone says. Moose is the man, I have to say. I really enjoy watching Moose in the ring. And as I said before, and I've said this time and again, even to Leon Slater, people just think Moose is a big man, and he's so much more than that. Really, really talented as hell, and it's just brilliant. And Brian Myers is also someone criminally underrated in wrestling. Brian Myers. Nevertheless, at the end of this match, Brian Myers got hit with the Elijah power driver for the 1, 2, 3, but it didn't stop there because Kazarian attacks them from behind and gets smashed over their head with the guitar. And that wrung Trick Williams to stand up from his desk and glare at them both as TNA went off the air before going under siege. Great way to end TNA. Really good considering where we're going for the under siege with a tag match with Joe Hendry and Elijah. Brings me quite nicely too. Under siege, and we'll do it in match order as per Wikipedia. We don't know if any other matches are going to be added to the card. This is as of 6:32 p.m. UK time, of course. So there could be stuff that gets added to the card. I don't know. Rosemary and Zaya Brookside. I'm going for Zaya on this, and I think no. Sorry, I'm going for Rosemary via DQ because Zaya Brookside goes crazy and gets herself disqualified. Perhaps using a chair or mist or something. She will do something in this match to get herself disqualified. She will lose control in this one, I think. And this could be the start of Rose. And I'm hoping, sorry, this is the start of Zaya Brookside going over to the dark side, so to speak. Masha Slamovich against Victoria of Crawford, the artist formerly known as Alicia Fox, for the Knockouts Championship. Masha retains here. I'm sorry, but there's no argument for this. She hasn't been even tested. You know, there's nothing that's happened that has made me think, oh, she's going to lose. Not for me. Masha wins this one. I'm not saying comfortably, but she wins. Eddie Edwards, Cody Deaner. If Cody Deaner wins, he receives a TNA contract. I'm sorry, Cody. I don't see you winning this. I really don't. I don't think you will. And I think your time in TNA is done. Apologies, of course. And if you want to come on and talk about it after, you're more than welcome to. But yeah, I think Eddie Edwards wins this. And unfortunately, Cody, I think your time in TNA is done. Nemeth Brothers against Matt Hardy and Leon Slater. Now, of course, Jeff Hardy can't be in Canada. Personal stuff not allowing him. We all know what that is. I don't see Leon and Matt winning the tag team championships. I think the Nemeth brothers retain on this one. I think if it was Matt and Jeff in a rematch, we may have a different ending. But when Matt and Leon there, I don't think it's going to be a happy one for Hardy and Leon Hardy Slater in this. For me, Nemeth's brothers retain on that one. Tessa Blanchard with Robert Stone, of course, against Arianna Grace with Santino Marella. Sorry, Santino. Tessa Blanchard for me. She can't lose that one. After losing by tap out to Masha before, she can't lose this one. Don't see it happening. Just don't. Tessa for the win for me. Santana versus AJ Francis. Look, I've just sung AJ Francis's praises. I don't see him picking up the victory against Santana in a one-on-one. No chance. For me in that one. Santana reigns supreme in this match. Now, the match that's interesting for me is Ash by Elegance and Heather by Elegance. The Elegances against Spitfire. And if Spitfire lose, they must disband. If they win the Knockouts Tag Team Championships. They're disbanding for me. Luna and Fret will be no more after Under Siege. I can see the Elegances winning this. I can see Spitfire having to, unfortunately, disband as a team. Don't think we're ready and I still think we're going to have another Elegant member coming onto this one. So for me, it's goodbye to Spitfire. Goodbye to Cody Deaner as well. Jesus, I'm splitting up quite a few things going on, aren't I, on this? The 8-person mixed tag match, it is Indy Hartwell, it's the Rascals, it's Zachary Wentz, and one other against Mustafa Ali, Tasha Steelz, and the Great Hands. No doubt for me, Indy Hartwell's team is winning that match. I don't know who the TBA is. Probably could be a new acquisition from TNA. They have been linked with a few names, so that could also be coming in. Don't see Indy Hartwell losing this quickly, although she doesn't have to take the pin, I suppose, for this. And Mustafa Ali. Now, I think we're going to have Indy Hartwell, Team Indy, win that match. Joe Hendry and Elijah against Trick Williams and Frankie Kazarian. I see Trick Williams and Frankie Kazarian picking up the victory here on this one. I really do. I think that it gives Trick Williams momentum going into the TNA Championship match at NXT this week. I believe it's this week anyway. I hope it's this week. But yeah, I think that happens, and I think that's how it goes off the air. I'm still thinking at some point Elijah turns on Joe Hendry. Could even be as early as tonight Under Siege. That's a possibility. Well worth tuning in to find out, because I don't trust Elijah. I still don't trust him at all, to be quite honest with you. But there we go. But that is Under Siege in just a few short hours' time on the TNA Plus app. Get it downloaded, get it subscribed, get that championship package, and you can see Under Siege. You can also see TNA Impact Weekly. And if you get that championship package, you will also get access to the archives of some of the great TNA wrestlers like AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels, and so much more. We'll be back tomorrow with the Under Siege review. Check out us at HTT Buckle on X, HTT Buckle on YouTube, Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast on all other social media outlets. Go down to the special interview, special guest playlist, and see some of the great TNA stars that we've interviewed, including Moose, including Leon Slayer, and including The System. Go and check it out. But until then, everybody, cross that line and stay safe.